Hey guys, Chris back from CNH Simons. You got another quick video here for you guys. We had a guy dropped off his Poland chainsaw over here a couple days back, and he was complaining the machine would not start. It hasn't been running since last October, and he was chopping some wood up for it, and he wanted us to take a look at the machine for him, and we did over here for that. Basically what we do is we always check the compression, we check and make sure the ignition's firing, make sure he got proper fuel in the tank, because sometimes people forget to put fuel in the tank, and also maybe the fuel lines might be cracked possibly on some of the older machines out there for that. And we always check the exhaust system on these machines as well too, and do a compression test. This engine has about 95 psi in it for reference points, and we took the exhaust off the actual muffler system off the engine over here, and we took a look down inside the cylinder, and he has the telltale signs of severe scoring in the exhaust side and also on the intake side. And I just want to show you guys what it looks like, because sometimes I was getting people asking me questions over the internet. They were throwing all kind of parts at a chainsaw and the machine wouldn't start. Well, the first thing is you have to verify this cylinder bore is good, because if the cylinder bore is crap, guys, it's not worth repairing, especially on these cheaper Poland machines, as this one is right here. This is a Poland 14-inch. Let me see, get the model number here for you. Model number P3314, the 33cc chainsaw gasoline 2-stroke. And I'll show you what the exhaust ports look on this one right here, so you can actually see what it looks like. It's all scored up down side. Let me get my flashlight here and shine it down side here. Let me see. There we go. That looks good. So let me get my camera situated here one way, and I'll hold the camera the other way here for that. So you see down side here, the whole thing is all scored up in the back of the piston on there for that. It's all scored up in the top. Let me go ahead and spin this thing over here for that, so I can do that, show you the air back side as well too, so we can get a shot of that. Let me spin this thing over here. Okay, there's the top of that piston, and we'll go ahead and show you the back section of the cylinder as well too. So let me get my camera here again. And the back section of the piston is also scored up in the back as well too. You can see those scratches and lines. They look like somebody just took a cheese grater down the back section of the exhaust, the intake on it for that. The intake's in the back, the exhaust is in the front. And I'll go ahead and turn the engine over here again as well too, so you can see the see the exhaust. Okay, let me put it about halfway so you can see a good shot of the cylinder and piston assembly. So there it is. It's like a dark gray looking color on there. It's all scored up. You can see that. See, you can get a better shot here. Sorry about that. See, it's all scored up down there. It's all scored up on the top. It looks like somebody just took like a file and went up and down on the actual cylinder, or the actual piston I should say for reference, because if you look down inside the spark plug hole with a bore snake down inside there, you'll see the cylinder is also scored up on the inside of the cylinder bore itself. And this is what happens whenever you let the engine idle possibly, or the other problem is you run like a real lean mix of fuel in your machine. So I honestly don't know what the guy was running, because the tank didn't have any gasoline in it, so we honestly are not able to ascertain what kind of fuel he was using. And we did ask the guy up front what kind of fuel he was using, and he claims he used the correct amount of fuel, even though I'm proving right here there's something wrong with his mix, or he let the thing idle for a long time, and sometimes the exhaust, you get a lot of carbon buildup on the exhaust, so that can be one problem. But it looks like the intake also has a big, big scratch in the back, so it looks like maybe air was bypassing the intake or the intake side as well too, because he did have some dust around the intake of the air box over here as well too. So let me flip that around. We did clean out some of the dust on here, because a lot of these cheaper chainsaws, guys, this one right here, all it has is like a little cheap filter like this one right here. All this thing does is it's like a felt filter, and all it does is just like lay right in the actual cover right here. It doesn't really seal up around the whole edges and stuff like that, because if you want a real good chainsaw that's going to have a better filtration, you gotta get a Stihl or Husqvarna, guys. These cheap $100, $120 chainsaw, they just don't have a good filtration, especially on the air side. and because of that, the air is not going to be clean when it goes into the engine. What happens is whenever this filter is sitting in the air cover box like so, you have like little gaps around the outside on here where it'll bypass the filter, and it might go down inside the top portion, might go down the bottom portion, and you'll see this crap going down inside the intake right there. We had a chainsaw here this past week. The guy had a machine, it was like a 2015 version of this one right here, and what happened was the air filter cover was basically being bypassed, and the entire air intake tract from the carburetor was totally dusted. Basically, anytime an engine is being, like, you know, having dirt getting sucked into it, I basically call it a dusted engine, because the actual you know, called wood chippings, or the wood dust is being sucked in. It looks like pollen, or it looks like snow out there, some kind of like a light dust, and that's why I call it a dusted engine. So if you do want to do yourself a favor, guys, just go out and buy a good machine like a Husqvarna or a Stihl. Don't buy these cheap, you know, $100, you know, $120, $130 chainsaws like this Poland one right here, because it's not gonna be worth it in a long time, you know, long terms durability aspect, because you're buying a cheap machine. You have to get one that's at least, probably I'd say between $200 and $300 at least minimum, because if you want to get a good chainsaw, I recommend getting a Husqvarna at least a minimum, or getting a Stihl if you can afford it right there for that, guys, because the Stihl and Husqvarna, they have a redesigned air filter on there, where the actual air filter has a lot more clamping onto the air box on it. So whenever the air filter is filtering out all the debris, there's like a less than 1% chance that you'll have any kind of debris getting sucked directly into the engine for that one aspect of the engine's design. So if anybody has any comments, questions, whatnot, this has been a quick you know, rundown of why a chainsaw may not start for you. This is a Poland model P3314 33cc 14-inch bar gas 2-stroke chainsaw, and like I said before, I do not recommend throwing parts at a machine, because you need to verify the machine is worth saving, because if your cylinder board's all screwed up, it is not going to be worth keeping the machine, because you have to have a good clean cylinder. And even though this thing has about 102, 105 psi, I would not want to keep it myself, guys, because the fact that you have all that scoring down inside her, and it's only going to get worse over time. So we have to call up the customer and tell them it's going to be scrap. It's not going to be worth salvaging, because he needs a new cylinder assembly with, you know, new piston rings, bearings, everything else like that. Plus, we honestly don't know how the machine is going to run with the old carburetor on here as well too, because if the machine won't start, we have no way of verifying the carb's going to, you know, actually run correctly on a machine. So if anybody has any comments, questions, whatnot, feel free to drop me a message here, and I'll try to get back to you within, you know, 24 or 48 hours with some kind of a basic, you know, troubleshooting help about your Poland or some other, you know, entry-level machine such as this type. I'll see you guys. Have a nice day.